Very interesting article in the Mail on Sunday, on the 14th of February, by Tony Blair, our beloved former Prime Minister, who argues for a global COVID passport as the only way to combat the disease. He writes, "The reality, however, is that the lockdown will stay until the vaccination program reaches a large enough number of the population to give us some form of herd immunity. The new variants of COVID-19 with greater transmission rates but not lower deadliness, combined with the alarming recognition that the more variants could be on the way, have left us with a horrible choice: mass vaccination or mass lockdown. I've looked at this from every angle and come to this conclusion: there's no prospect of a return to anything like normal without enabling people to show their COVID status, whether that means they've been vaccinated or recently tested. And the good news is that the technology allows us to make this work effectively and with privacy. Call it a passport, a certificate, or proof of status, we will want to know." So that's what Tony Blair says. If you follow through what he's saying, he says we need to have some form of controls. And he goes on to say that this needs to be global in its reach. It's no use if it's just done by one country in one place and another country has a different form of control. He says we need a system of verification that is simple, for example, a QR code shown on a mobile. Now, one little catch on that, there is one country which already has that system in place, has a QR code which you put on a mobile, which you need to get into a building and to get in and out. You know where that country is? It's Communist China. And Communist China has used this whole system to build up the most pervasive form of control over the people, where they go, what they buy, what they sell, what their opinions are, that the world has ever seen. And is actually emerging as a techno-tyranny. I mentioned earlier that the possibilities of what can come out of this are a techno-tyranny. So what Blair is suggesting here is already happening in China. He goes on to say what would be crazy is for the world to try operating different standards, different means of verification, patchwork of uncoordinated stack of competing systems that would lead to chaos. He says we have the technology which allows us to do this securely and effectively. The need is obvious. The world is moving in this direction. We should plan for an agreed passport now. The arguments against it don't add up. So what do you think of Tony Blair's arguments? Good or bad? They're pretty logical, actually. I mean, one has to say, you could say you don't like it, but what he's saying is quite logical if you accept all the parameters about the vaccine and about the virus and so on. You need to suppress the virus. We need some kind of global mechanism to do so. The vaccine plus a COVID passport linked to some form of global control system is the answer to the current health crisis threatening the whole world. It wouldn't be easy to bring to pass because at the present we do have competition between the nations, between Russia, China, the UK. Even the UK and the European Union are at some odds over this, and the European Union is way behind us in vaccinating people. And the EU doesn't accept the Oxford vaccine, which we're pushing out in this country. So you've got all kinds of disagreements. You really need somebody pretty strong to bring it all together. Maybe that's going to be part of the role of the Antichrist in the end of days, to bring these nations together. It's also very dangerous because it's a road to a system which places power and in technology and in those who control it. And if you end up with a global control system, you need some kind of global authority to administer it. And as I've said, such a system already exists in China. And China actually has got pretty much a good control over the virus. And they've done pretty well at getting their society back to normal. They can say, well, we really need to go down the same road as China. The problem with China is it is a dictatorship. It's a communist dictatorship in which people's lives are controlled, where they go, what they think, who they meet, what they can buy and sell. And particularly Christians are severely persecuted and have their rights taken away from them. Now, our government at the present time seems undecided on this issue. They've said they're not going to insist on a pass system. But at the same time, there are other forces which are saying we're going to have to. And the next few weeks are going to decide this. And there's a lot of pressure, even from the private sector, from transport and others, that we should move towards a COVID pass system.